Welcome to the CheckSwing Podcast with. Is it cutting me off again?
No. Well, you're fine. I missed your cue to say we're. I know you said we start in a minute, and then I think I said something, and then everything just cut, and then it's like you're streaming live. I'm like, what?
Yes, we were starting in a minute ago. Yep. Oh, and I just saw your message saying that I disappeared.
All right.
Okay. All right. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the CheckSwing Podcast Show with myself and the brains and brawn of the operation. Mr. Coach Santa is in the building. This is the CheckSwing Podcast. If you have an opinion on anything that we say today, please give us a call at 669-275-0548, the number that you see right there at the bottom of the screen. And as I speak it up, I'm going to make sure I have the phone lines open. Let me go and clear these out real quick. We're in business here. Phone lines are almost open. Almost clear. Here we go. Phone lines are clear. So 669-275-0548 is the number to call. This is the CheckSwing Podcast. We have quite a bit to get through today. We appreciate y'all hanging with us and starting with us. We know the national championship game is tonight. We know Purdue is playing UConn tonight. I forgot for a second. But we will be off the air before that game comes on. So if you don't want to hear the same people you've been hearing talk for the last month about these teams, say the same things they've been saying the last month about these teams, stay right here with us on the CheckSwing Podcast. But anyway, I digress. Coach, how you been, man?
Been well, man. The weather is starting to get better. Me and my wife planted a Japanese cherry blossom tree in front of our house, so we should see it fully grown between 20 and 30 years.
Is it I don't know what they would be called, but I'm just gonna take a guess here. Is it a sapling? Like is it like, so does y'all like dig a hole and y'all put the bulb of the tree in there and there's like a little tree, like a little skinny tree sticking up that's gonna.
Yes. So it was funny because we were like looking at places to get something like that. But we actually had to order it. So we ordered it off of Home Depot. It came straight from Seattle, Washington. And so all it said was you had to dig a hole about 2 feet deep, and then you had to mix in the dug up soil with fertilizer. So we did that, and we had to make it into a hill, and now it's standing up. And they have those I can't remember what they're called, but the stakes with the rope to keep the thing, the branch from like leaning in either direction as it grows. So me and my wife, we did it in honor of. So this past weekend was our 20th wedding anniversary. Thank you.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah. What year are you in? I forget.
This is what year is this? 2024?
24.
It'll be 7.
Oh yeah, you're 1/10 of the way there. So congratulations. But yeah, so we did it in honor, because the for those that don't know what a Japanese cherry blossom is, it's one of those trees that it actually can bloom in 3 different colors, and each after they're done blooming, they fall. So it's like it'll turn like white, then those leaves will fall, then it'll be this beautiful like pinkish kind of reddish kind of color, and then those leaves will fall off, and then the rest of the summer they're just green like a regular tree. The tree that we got, it starts with an A. It's like a aqua something, but it actually is unique because it blooms twice. But it'll bloom once in the spring, and then it'll bloom again between like late fall, early winter.
So it blooms in the spring and then dies. All the petals fall, and then late fall.
Right.
They all come back.
Right. So yeah, but we like this particular tree because even though like there's constant changing, and with leaves represent, not to be gloomy, but representing death. But then they come back in a new form, new life. Because me and my wife went through, we had some miscarriages. Recently, we lost both of our mothers. So it's kind of like a memorial kind of sort of thing, remembering all the people that were gone from us, but not from our hearts. So
Sounds like you need a podcast about talking about these trees.
well, I mean, we planted it yesterday, and
Coach Santa coming to New Twist Radio, talking about the cherry blossoms, the ones in DC, the ones that come from Seattle, and the ones in his own yard.
in Northeast Baltimore.
He's got it covered. That's cool. Yeah, I had an interesting weekend. As I was telling you prior to the show, we had a baseball game yesterday. Had 2 games yesterday, actually.
How did those go?
Played against the number 4 team in the country.
And just to give perspective, where are you guys ranked?
We're not.
Gotcha.
I was trying to think if I knew like where, like, how you can get like the full rankings, but I've never seen full rankings, so we're not ranked in the. I've not seen us on the list. Let's put it that way. I've not seen it. So yeah, we played the number 4 team in the country yesterday. They had to go all the way out to what part of Jersey was it? It was North Jersey. It was like a suburb of New York City, from what I was told. Yeah, I mean, it was cold out there. The wind was blowing. Oh man, let me tell you.
Your favorite weather?
Things fun. But look, let's get to the show. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of things going on. Wrestlemania was this weekend. We crowned a new women's champion this weekend. Over the weekend, the Phillies unveiled their City Connect jerseys, of which we've been telling y'all about for the last 2 months. So if you're just joining us, we do get the scoops sometimes, so you gotta check us out. What else happened? I'm sorry. Let me because I'm gonna hit everything before topic. I'm sorry. I guess I did hit that up. All right. So WrestleMania was interesting too. I saw one match. Not even a whole match, but one match. We'll
did you order it on pay-per-view?
No, I have Peacock.
It's free on Peacock? I have Peacock.
You can watch it.
No, there you go. Okay.
So I believe, and this is not an advertisement for Peacock or the WWE, but I think the whole network is on Peacock. The whole WWE network, like that whole thing is on Peacock.
That's right, because their contract is up at the end of the year when they go over to Netflix exclusively.
Right. Even though I don't watch wrestling, I like having access to the stuff.
The library of.
Thank you. I like having access to the library because every once in a blue moon, I might be like, "Yo, who won the Royal Rumble in 1999?" You know what I mean? Like, who won the second Royal Rumble? Which I think John Studd, wasn't it?
No,
he won the first one.
No,
Big John Studd won the first Royal Rumble.
I don't believe that's true.
I'm going to have to ask a friend. I need to know something, Google. Let me see.
You're gonna ask Google live on the air?
I'm going to type to Google. I don't have my Hey Google set up. Who won the second Royal? I know this is like terrible, but I need to know right now. Oh my God! No, it was not Cody Rhodes.
Wait a minute. Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble. I said, who won the second Royal Rumble? They told me Cody Rhodes.
That's not correct. You gotta look back at the hit. Okay, wait a minute. No. The first Royal Rumble. Oh my goodness! I found the answer, and I
First
owe
one was Big
you
John Studd, right?
no. But you are correct in the fact I didn't think he ever won a Royal Rumble. The very first winner of the Royal Rumble in 1988,
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh,
Well, Big John Studd won the second one. Was that what I think you originally said?
never heard from him again. Never happened to Big John Studd. Like you never hear. Is he dead? Yeah, he did die. Okay.
Yeah, he well, I think that was so at that point in 1989, that was the end of his career.
Right, because he died in 95.
Well, but yeah, he was already like he
was
had
old.
already been wrestling like 20 years at that point. So.
Yeah, he was an old man in the game at that point. Promise you, that's not where we meant to go with this. I told Miguel like I am very random when it comes to some things, and sometimes I have to look it up immediately because I need to know. And that was one of those times. So shout out to Big John Studd winning the second Royal Rumble. Over the weekend, actually yesterday, while I was at my baseball game, unfortunately, I missed the women's national championship game. And it pit South Carolina, University of South Carolina. I always end up trying. I have to catch myself.
There's too many Carolinas.
Well, let me talk about it first, then I'll come back. Yeah, University of South Carolina versus University of Iowa. It was a rematch of last year's semifinal, in last year's Final Four, which Iowa beat South Carolina to go on to the national championship game, played LSU, and they lost to LSU in the final. So Iowa goes back to the Final Four and goes back to the final game, the championship game, against a team that they just beat a year ago, a team that did not have any returning starters from last year, and a team that beat them, and they were 38-0 in doing so. They had a perfect season. I think that's falling by the wayside with this whole story. They had a perfect season, no returning starters. Their whole starting five was different.
And didn't they win each game by like double digits or more? Like, not that they weren't competitive, but most of the games,
Most of the games, yeah, they had a majority of the games. They won handily. I mean, they dominated. Perfect season. You don't see it often, and they had one. And at the helm, who'd you have? Philly's own Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley is a beacon of light to Philadelphia, especially lately, because Philly has been taking a lot of L's lately in many different walks of life. Okay. Case in point today, we didn't get to see the solar eclipse really because it was so cloudy up here. We missed out. We saw a little bit of it, but I'm not even going to get into some of the other things. But Dawn Staley, national champion, and as you see right there, Dawn Staley makes history as the first Black woman coach to win 3 NCAA titles. Shout out to Dawn Staley, man. So proud of Dawn Staley, of what she has become from a player to a coach to really a role model. You know what I mean? Like she's really like when she's interviewed, when she speaks, when she talks, well, at least for me, I'm locked in on what she's saying. I'm locked in. I mean, there's not too many coaches out there that I'm locked in on, right? Especially if they're not coaching one of my teams. I'm locked in on what Dawn Staley is saying all the time, man. Coach, you're from Philadelphia. You're from not too far from where she's from. How does it feel seeing her have the success she's having? Like this is major success. Um, coming from the place that we are from. Like it's like I just want to get your feelings on it.
I mean, it's amazing. You don't hear too much where a coach has a completely different team from one year to the next, and I mean, and I don't know what what a record was last year, but actually had a better record, better results. You know what I mean? Like that, you don't really hear about that because normally there's like a transition period. You got to get to know the players, so that's a testament to her and her scouting capabilities, or the people that she is assigned to help recruit. That's a sign of her coaching ability, her leadership. So from that standpoint, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I can't think of any of too many male coaches that have been able to just like not have the exact same team from one year to to the next, and you know have that success. That's just amazing to me. And I'm also proud of the fact that she stood up for herself because there was a bit of controversy or an attempt at controversy this past week when she mentioned God, doing everything, for his glory and everything like that. And then it seemed to be like quote unquote too much for some reporters. And it's like, let's just keep it to sports. But it's like, she's like, why? Because everything we do, it should glorify him. And I think she didn't have to say that because I think she does it without saying it, if that makes sense. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's one thing when you have to explain it. It's like one of my favorite animals is a lion, right? Um, when you compare animals, like you see like certain animals and you can't tell, this one's like a breed of a type of dog, this one's a breed of a type of cat. But a lion is a lion, and when you see it, it doesn't have to announce itself. He's like, oh crap, that's a lion. You know what I mean? And she carries herself with that lion personality that she doesn't have to announce herself. She just is. You dig what I'm saying? So but proud of her and proud what she represents, who she represents, and best of all, she's from Philly.
Best of all, she's from Philly. I had an opportunity to meet Dawn Staley years ago. She was it was in the '90s, so she was I want to say fresh off one of the Olympics, either '92 or '96. I want to say it might have been after '96, around '96, and I was playing in the Hoop It Up. You remember the Hoop It Up 3-on-3 tournament? We
Mm-hmm.
used to come to City Hall every year, and Dawn Staley comes over. We over to meeting Dawn Staley, and my boy. I was just that's funny. I was just telling the story earlier today. My boy's dad comes over. He comes over and he was like, uh, Dawn Staley, she got game. And then she just turned and walked away. It's like, yo, come on, man. Come on, man. Like we were trying to beat Dawn Staley, man.
and he blew it.
But it was funny though. I can laugh about it to this day, man. It was funny then, it's funny now. Excuse me. Shout out to Dawn Staley. Um, third national championship. I'm trying to think. Yeah, they're all three with South Carolina because before that she was with Temple.
Yeah, why do you think she wasn't successful at Temple, or why didn't she?
She
Why was
was,
she? I mean,
she
she
was
was successful, but I mean, like, why no
like
national champ? Right.
that's a good question. I think sometimes it's just timing, really, because she had good players, but maybe she just didn't have. Um, no, she was actually. You know what? Let me say this. She was younger in the coaching game then. You know what I mean? Now she's been around. She's won a Coach of the Year. Actually, she just won like a fourth Coach of the Year, I think.
Hmm.
Say maybe it was her fourth Coach of the Year award. Um, but I guess your time in, like, no, I don't think anybody really can come in and have a whole bunch of success. I mean, it's possible, but it doesn't happen often. But she had some good teams. She actually kind of turned that Temple program. She did improve the Temple program. They did go to the tournament, and a couple of girls went to the WNBA from that team. They just didn't, advance. So that was the years that UConn was really good,
Right,
Tennessee
right.
good, and you have like good Rutgers teams.
Wasn't you kind of won like 4 or 5 in a row or something astronomical?
Crazy like that because Gino Auriemma, the coach up there at UConn, was always getting like the best girls. Always like the best would come to play for him, and able to make that talent work together to win national championships. And people, including myself, I downplay Gino Auriemma's success, but there is much to be said about a coach that can have people with top talent come together for one cause, not really looking to necessarily get their own shine, or he can
Mhm.
convince them to not look to get their own, but you're looking to get for the entire team. And like Phil Jackson kind of did that. Phil Jackson was able to, with Mike and Scotty and Dennis Rodman and all the guys that came through there, and he did it again with Kobe and Shaq and all the guys that were there. Certain coaches can really set that tone, and when you're a good coach, good coaches can do that. And I think Dawn Staley is on that level too because she's getting top talent.
Mhm.
But I think the girls' basketball game has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
It's gotten so much better that there's going to be more talent to go around. But she gets top talent. She gets them to play together, and they love her. Like there was my wife remembers her name right now. Her name is escaping me, but she was the sideline reporter during the Final Four. She played for Dawn Staley last year, and and she was just so excited that they won. You know, she told the coach right there, "I love you, coach. Congratulations." They love her. You know what I mean? And there's much to be said about that. Much to be said. You right over there?
Yeah. Carry on.
All right. Just check. Just check. Make sure you wasn't, passing out on me. I know what's going
No,
on.
no, no.
Shout out Dawn Staley. Shout out South Carolina women's basketball team. Congratulations to y'all. So, yeah.
Sir.
Oh, you know what? We have something that we gotta talk about. You have a bet. You have is it a new bet?
Yeah, so what I usually do as a coach, I'll get like a new that's my fungo. Louisville Slugger. I went back to the Maple. I think last year I had some composite one, which actually worked out pretty good. Made me look like I used to be able to hit in high school. So I went back to the Trusted Maple. She is gold plated. The team that I'm coaching wears black and you could say yellow or gold because I always like to match. Me when me and Justin were coaching, we'd always make sure we'd match attire and stuff. Um,
Try. I messed it up mostly.
it's fine. But I usually like to name my bets. So I was struggling a little bit this year. So what I was thinking of, why don't we make this kind of fun and include our listeners? I need ideas for names for my fungo. Um, so over the course of the next, huh?
Garden hoser.
Garden hoser. A buddy of mine. Had a couple of suggestions. One was Angel Hernandez, which yeah. Batonio Fungstardo, uh, Bat Jelts, for you Phillies fans out there. Jeets, instead of Sheets. Uh, Michael Batinez, another Bad Phillies player reference. Bat Burrow and Batten Eaton. Um, but yeah,
And
oh,
Garden Hoser.
and Garden Hoser. We'll add Garden
No,
Hoser
no
to
Gardner.
or watch your lips. You know what I mean? Because that's what
Nacho lips.
watch your lips. Because that's what coach would usually yell out whenever I would hit fungos to my infielders. Um,
Yeah, I said to somebody yesterday.
Listen, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So yeah, I just need some help with some ideas in regards to names for this bat. You know, she's new. She's about she's 36 inches and 25 ounces. Um, she likes long walks on the beach, calf roping, and she likes Oreos.
All right. Well, y'all throw some names together and y'all let us know what y'all think about that. We'll talk about it again a little later on in the show. And also, you can call us up 669-275-03. Excuse me, I'm about to throw the old number out there as I'm looking at the phone number right in front of my face. 669-275-0548. That's the number to call if you have a comment on anything that we're going to talk about, especially what we're about to talk about right now. Like I said before, we talked about it a couple months ago. It was unveiled Friday. And then the earth shook. Literally, the earth shook in this area. Unfortunately, this time I did not feel it. I really felt deprived that I didn't get to feel the earthquake. Really do. It's scary as hell because I felt the first one and I was like, whoa, that's scary. Everything's just moving right now and nobody's doing nothing to it. It's just moving.
Was that the one like 2013 or something?
2011. Yep.
2011. So me and my wife were actually in the hospital. My wife had to go to the ER that day, and we were at Delaware County Memorial Hospital, and she was upstairs getting ready to get an X-ray or something. So we were sitting outside, and all of a sudden, it felt like, how can I explain it? It felt like somebody was behind us, like vibrating the chair, like on purpose. And then it felt like the building swayed, like it went like this and then back. And then that was it. It was real subtle. And then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, you can't take the elevators. We're like, what? And then when we got outside, it was like, semi chaotic, like, nothing had fallen, nothing had cracked or anything. But like, oh my God, did you see? Oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, okay.
That was like the first earthquake for the area in like not ever, but for a long time. And then the other day, so we what are we about 13 years apart? Every 13 years we have an earthquake. But I found something interesting about that. Watching the news that day, it said something about a fault line in Jersey, and that's where it happened, right? Miguel, I'm going to ask you because maybe sometimes I wasn't paying attention in school. But when growing up in elementary, I'm just talking elementary school because that's the only time I really remember talking about earthquakes. It came later, I don't know. They told us that the San Andreas fault was the fault that was here, the fault line that was here in the United States, which is why California gets all them earthquakes and we don't. Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, out of the blue, New Jersey has a fault line in it. Really?
So I'll say this. I think I had one of the good teachers.
Okay.
She told us about the fault line. She didn't mention Jersey. She just said in the East Coast. Because I think when we were asking about, it was around when The San Francisco earthquake during the World Series, the '89 World Series, Oakland and San Francisco, which is one of the first World Series I watched live on TV. Um, uh, my science teacher, I'll never forget. It was, I think that was third or fourth grade, Mrs. Hook, and we all think she was either Muslim or an Israelite. We couldn't figure it out. Um, but she told us about the fault line and that, like, oh, it's very possible that an earthquake can happen on this side, and it could be just as damaging as it was in San Francisco. So it kind of got us scared, stuff like that. She's like, but it's highly unlikely. You know what I mean? Didn't
So
know.
now that you put it like that, I feel like I feel like I might have been told that same thing.
Well, because the other thing too was that she taught us that the reason why we don't get they she was saying that the magnitude of the earthquakes vibrate further out because there's more flat land versus in California there's mountains and stuff like that. So that's why whenever there's a massive earthquake, it'll happen in Los Angeles, it'll be really strong, but then not vibrate too far out. Maybe like a couple, maybe like 100 miles or whatever. Whereas this happened, I think, near Edison, New Jersey, and it was felt as far as Virginia, which is well over 100 miles. So because of the flat lands, it'll tend to vibrate for a longer distance, which actually kind of works out better for us, causing less damage, I guess you can say. So I guess in theory, if this were California, it would have been a bigger magnitude. That's the only thing I can think of. That's your science for today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. I learned something today.
None of this can be confirmed. This was just what I thought I heard in fifth grade about
confirming it for you. It is
a fact, a stone cold mortal lock fact.
It's CheckSwing Podcast Official. What it is.
We should have a weather segment.
No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't.
We're going to predict hurricanes, all that stuff.
But back to the subject at hand. We were talking about the Phillies City Connect jerseys that were unveiled the other day. It was Friday afternoon, and then the earthquake came, and that's how we got into the earthquake. But like I said twice before, we have been talking about these jerseys for the last 2 months, so we got to move on it. And they pretty much came out exactly as we said they would. Miguel, how have your thoughts changed since seeing the jersey, since the unveiling of this jersey, of this uniform?
Not much. Although I do want that bet that Bryce is holding. I was waiting to see, because all that was on the internet was the jersey, the shirt, not the bottom, just the top. So I was waiting to see, okay, well, what is the hat gonna look like? What is the pants gonna look like? Like, are they gonna like completely bomb this out and go like, canary yellow or some crap or whatever? I'll be honest, I like blue's my favorite color, so I kind of like the blue, but it fading into the dark blue, there's something off about it to me. And then as far as the font, that's one of the biggest complaints that I've heard, even from one of my colleagues at work, my boss. He was like, "What's up with the crazy font?" And the font is supposed to represent the style of font that was used on the Declaration of Independence. Exactly. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. So I would believe, yeah. Well, I don't like the font. I like the idea of the font, and I think they could have done the wording better with the same. I think they could have did better.
Yeah, I think what's throwing the font off is that it's like a plain white. You know what I mean? Like I think if it was like a yellow or even like a blue with like a yellow, you know,
It
edging to it, it may work.
kind of throws it off a bit. I feel like they kind of just cashed it in with the font.
So this is Trey Turner's number. This is supposed to be a 7.
Looks like a question mark.
Right. Somebody said it looked like the Joker, the Joker suit. Yeah.
Oh, the
There's the
Joker card.
huh? Yeah.
Card. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
I don't like the fanatic in it.
and obviously, he's not going to be wearing the red socks and stuff like that. It'll probably be either I think the socks are actually pretty cool. I think when I was playing the show, a couple of players that wear the knicker pants and the high socks, it has like the outline of the skyline. So it goes from like that dark to light blue. It actually looks pretty good. But the other thing was too, I did kind of, let me go back. Oh, I didn't put that up here. The hat isn't bad. I actually like the hat.
I like the hat. I actually
Yeah,
have a hat that is very similar, except it didn't have in the Liberty Bell they didn't have the skyline.
right.
I had a gray hat with a black Liberty Bell on it with a yellow outline on it. Um, that was I used to love that hat.
Mhm.
A little too
Oh,
bright,
and
but I would rock it a certain way so I could wear it.
so you know how I am, right? So on the show, the next time we play, you'll see the variation of how it should be.
I got you.
Um, so but yeah, I mean, I think the hard part is that we've seen pictures of them, we haven't seen them playing them yet, um, which could actually make it worse. um, the other thing is too, Nike's getting absolutely walloped about the whole jersey situation. Between the quality of the jersey. Um, when you look at the somebody had pointed this out. Oh, it was an article that I saw. Somebody had pointed out that the Phillies day jerseys, the cream jerseys, the top cream looked more yellowish and the bottom cream looked more whitish, so it was a mixed match. And a Nike representative said, "Yeah, that's kind of our coloring system," and da 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 da, because they went with a brand. Fanatics pretty much made these jerseys, so another player had commented that it seems like we got our jerseys like the Family Dollar version. You know what I mean? So these jerseys are getting torn apart, to the point where the Milwaukee Brewers City team jerseys and the Texas Ranger City team jerseys are actually not ready.
Oh, really?
So the whole idea with the city team jerseys is that every team's going to play with them on their Friday home games. Those two teams will not have those jerseys for at least a couple weeks. So the first couple of Fridays they're going to miss it. Actually, I would say the Brewers would be like one of my top two, top three jerseys. That jersey is gorgeous to me.
I kind of almost bet the Brewers is probably going to be decent. The Rangers, I don't know.
Yeah, the Rangers. I'm hearing a lot of people like the Rangers jersey. I can't get with it.
I haven't seen it, but we'll have to see. But we did have a comment come in. Ezekiel said, "I like all the black, but that blue not feeling it. Current pick you have up also looks like current pick you have up looks like Mariners colors up top.
Yeah, so the Mariners have. I love the Mariners hats because their Mariners hats are like royal blue, and they got a black brim, and the jersey's like that bright royal blue that I like. But it also has like the yellow. It's not faded like that, but several people said it looks kind of like Mariners or you know Brewers ish, so to speak. So
So yeah, I agree. I think you mentioned it before that it kind of looks Mariners. It looks a
mhm,
little Mariner like the Mariners colors.
mhm.
So I think I like the jersey fading to black.
Well, it's not black. It's actually midnight blue.
Right, it's navy blue.
They cleared that up.
So I like the jersey. I like the jersey color fade, but and it probably would have been ugly as hell. But I probably would have put a little bit more of the blue in there, and probably wouldn't have started the fade until after the Philly. And the fade would probably I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go into the pants with the fade because that would probably look weird. Because then there would be less navy blue on it. But I wouldn't. I wouldn't have done the yellow pinstripe down the pant leg. That
Yeah, I don't
complete.
know. Like even with the Mariners when they put a yellow pin shot, like Mariners one has they have black pants, yellow stripe on the side, and yellow pant or yellow belt. And I'm like, it looks like you took the Pittsburgh Pirates pants and just put it on that jersey, which it kind of works, but I probably would have gone a blue stripe myself.
These kind of look
Um,
like pirate pants, and that's what these kind of look like.
right.
Uh,
I think they were going for remember World Baseball Classic Cuba had something similar in styling. They had the blue no, they had the red fading into their blue because of the national flag, right? And these jerseys are supposed to replicate our city flag. How about like I'm sure if I took a poll right now, I guarantee at least 30 to 40% of the people from Philadelphia like we have a flag.
yeah, So you remember last week I was talking about the flag.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually talking about the Pennsylvania flag. Not even. I'm not thinking it was.
It's
I
the
thought
sit
flag. It was the Pennsylvania flag I was talking about,
right.
which looks very familiar to another state or city flag. I think
All
it's New York or something.
all the states look alike to me. You know what I mean? As far as like state flags, it's like a weird emblem,
That is
something they stole, and you know
Maryland state flag does not look like any other state flag in the history of the world.
it sure doesn't. And they excuse my language, but they are bastardizing that flag. It's on everything. All the buses
Love that flag down
are
there.
yeah.
I don't get it. They love the Maryland flag. So yeah, I'm not really feeling the fanatic in that jersey. Not at all. Not at all. Not one bit. He looks like he should be at a Union game wearing that.
Well, that's what some people that actually like this jersey. They kind of like the fact that it's like an ode to, or it's like in partnership with. But it's like you're going from bright red and bright blue to something that's completely out of left field, and you're trying to attach it to something that even people from Philadelphia are not. This is equivalent to when they tried to do the name change of Delaware Ave to Columbus Boulevard. You and I being born and raised in Philadelphia, what do we call it?
Yeah.
We call it Delaware Ave. We we don't go down to streets dedicated to rapists and murderers. Um, so
No, I'm not even going. I'm not even going to go there. Um, so the Union, when they put their uniform together, it was an ode to Philly's history. And so they kind of with the Phillies or whoever who designed this basically just did what the Union did and just made a baseball jersey out of it. If we're keeping it, if I'm being honest, which at least that's what it feels like to me. Because I mean, the scheme is pretty much the same.
yeah, minus the
Fade.
the fade and the United States Constitution or the Declaration of Independence font.
Yeah. They just kind of cashed that in. They I feel like they put so much brain power into the other part that they said, all right, we're just going, this is going to be the fun, and we're going. They blew that one. But one thing that I don't know if I would say disagree with you with, because I'm not sure if you were saying it as something that you just absolutely don't like. I kind of like the coming out of left field sometimes when they do it the right way. But I also like when the teams stick with their same color scheme. and still make an interesting jersey. And I would be remiss if I did not mention how much I do not like the Baltimore Orioles jersey. Their uniform, like it. I told you every time they're trying to pull one over on us, talking about it's the color of each neighborhood in Baltimore. You're whatever, whatever, whatever.
That and you see the way it's set up, right? Like they have to have a story. There's a story behind every jersey.
I like there to be. That's cool that it's a story. That means they put some thought into it, right? Like me, you and I would probably just, oh, I like this, how this look. I like how this look. All right, cool. We're gonna go with that. I like that there's a story, right? But don't hit me with a BS story. You got all these random colors. Oh, these colors represent. Come on, man. Like at least this one has, all right, Philly Constitution. Let's use the font. They messed it up, in my opinion, but it has it's significant. What was one? There was one I didn't like before. Um,
So the Pirates one was a one I think that was kind of cashed in. Like the Pirates have gold up top, and it actually on the helmet fades to black. Real cool, but the letters are literally like plain Arial box font that says PGH, which is the abbreviation of Pittsburgh.
yeah.
But to me, it was lazy because the jersey top was gold, which they already have, and the pants were black, which they already have. I think the laziest, obviously, and you and I both agreed on it, was the Atlanta Braves, where they literally took they took their throwback jersey from the 70s, took off the word Braves, and just added the A. That's literally like Photoshop erase this layer 101 and then just put another letter over top of it.
That was the person that got contacted to do it. Got contacted to do it 2 hours before it was due, before the homework was.
Right.
Okay, I got it. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just give him a throwback jersey with a different name on it.
So this one, there was some thought put into it, but to me, it's like somebody that this is like a tourist jersey. Like this is somebody that's like, we need what is Philadelphia, Liberty Bell, and Ben Franklin, and but the bridge is blue, and the yellow is part of a flag, and it's like, and it needs to fade. You know, like it just seems like
here's what I
like
think
somebody from New Jersey created it.
I like it, but here's why I don't like it. Because it looks like the uniform of another team in the city.
Which you can do, because I'm trying to think of another team that actually did that.
Well, Pittsburgh's uniforms, all three of their teams are alike. They're black and gold,
right?
Whatever it is. But like if the Phillies did Eagles uniform, right? I might be okay with it because they can play it out a certain way. This one, it's not like somebody in Baltimore is going to just rent necessarily, no, unless they're a soccer fan, the Union colors.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for me being here, I'm like Union colors. And they're not the most popular team in this city. I mean, you know, there's no shot at the Union. I'm not, no disrespect. I enjoy watching Union games sometimes. But they're not the most popular team in the city. Soccer is not the most popular sport in America. It just is what it is. But with that being said, the Eagles, because I think you did a rendition on MLB The Show. That was pretty cool. Oh, yeah. If they did a Sixers one, I don't know if I'd like it.
But you know why the Sixers would work? Because red, white, and blue, exact same colors as the Phillies. They could have done like, and I don't understand. Like you and I played this video game called The Show. The last 2 years they gave,
Go ahead, I'm listening. Go ahead. I just got an idea.
Last year they gave an ode to the Negro League. So in that you had what the some Negro League stadiums from Kansas City. You had Hilldale. Um, uh, this year, I think it's the New York Eagles, the Pittsburgh Crawfords. Like you could have done a combination, like where you had like the Hilldale and maybe the Philadelphia Stars jersey, not the football one, but from the actual baseball team, and still kept the same colors and just kind of, I just think it could have gone in a different direction versus trying to get like, because even if you're trying to target like the personality of the city, the personality of these cities are changing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When I was growing up, K and A was a cuss word. Okay, it still kind of is, but up the street there's a Starbucks. I'm like, that Starbucks was a crack house when I was growing up. You know what I mean? That first watch breakfast spot in Frankfurt, that was like a chop shop. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these places where illegal activity happened, and yeah, gentrification, that's a whole other, conversation. But it's starting to change like the personality of the city a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And baseball is a history rich, sport. It relies a lot on its history, which unfortunately is mired in racism and bigotry. But I just think if you're trying to do it right and you're trying to like make amends for the past, I think that's kind of the route you should go. Um, like why not have Negro League jerseys? You know what I mean? Because like especially like the Monarchs ones, those are fire. You could go Homestead Grays. Like you could go in that direction. I think personally, you know. But,
Yeah, and it would be nice to see that because keeps the conversation going. In a time in this world where um, politicians are trying to eliminate books and knowledge bases,
mm-hmm.
uh, to be able to keep that conversation going of the Negro Leagues and what that meant and why they were there and all that stuff. Very important, I think. But I had an idea, Miguel.
Uh oh.
Here's my idea. Okay, Philly City Connect jersey, right? If you want to make our homage to the Sixers, right? I would go with an all blue jersey, maybe this color, right? All blue uniform, right? I know you don't like the all solid one color, I know, but I'm gonna rock with it. I would use this font,
I actually like that. That was my favorite. That was my favorite. I think I like the black one, but the blue ones because I think it was they had the white ones and then the red ones, and then they came. No, they had the white was the homes and the blacks was the ways, and then they came out with a third jersey after that. But I like these black ones.
they didn't wear it many times. They didn't wear it that much.
I think those were like a Saturday or Sunday jersey or something like that. They didn't wear. Yeah, you're right. They didn't wear it all the time. But I like that jersey.
I used to have one of these, the blue. I had one of those. I love that jersey, boy. You can't tell
I had a white one.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I got the what you call it, the homeboy spaghetti stain on it. Then it became a house shirt.
Couldn't get it out.
Nah, they were made from a different material back in the probably like lead paint fluoride and like McDonald's chicken nuggets. That's what it was made of.
um. So as we getting closer and closer to the end of the show, there we spoke. We spoke. Actually, we spoke a year ago. A year ago. And the reason I know this is because I was out there a year ago this time of year. We spoke about the Oakland Athletics moving to Las Vegas, Nevada. It is unfortunate to the people of Oakland, but they ain't going to the games. And the Oakland Athletics had a pretty decent history. They used to be in Philly for one, but They had a pretty decent run in the late '80s, late '80s.
So, they pretty much had like runs in every decade. So I think they were one of the last teams to win three in a row in the '70s. They went to three World Series in a row, 88, 89, 90, even though they won one. Late 2000s, they started to come up, and then you had that whole Moneyball bull crap. Um, they would win 100 games and always lose to the Yankees in the first round.
Jermaine Dye was on that team. I remember.
Jermaine Dye, Jason Giambi,
Me.
Eric Chavez, one of the best third basemen before his back issues.
I think of one of the pitchers they had over there.
Oh, they had like Barry Zito, Mark Mulder.
I was thinking of, but yeah, they had. I forgot they had Zito on that team.
In the '80s and '90s, it was what Dave Stewart and.
But yeah, they had Eckersley back then.
Yeah. So I mean, they come from a story, and Oakland is. It's one of the. It's funny, like it's one of those towns, like like Philly. They're not going to come if the product is bad. But they are. But when they're winning, like droves, they're out in droves. There's this video clip of I can't remember the name of the pitcher, but he was on Tampa Bay against the Phillies, and he wound up in Oakland. And it was a playoff game, and they showed his walk from the bullpen to the pitcher's mound, and you could see everybody just to the lights all the way up top because Oakland is a big stadium. And that was only we're only talking like maybe 10 or 13 years ago. But when you have an owner, and it's kind of a thing, like there's certain owners that know nothing about baseball and they're trying to run it like a business. But in sports, it's a little bit different because if you're trying to win and trying to win championships, you have to allow your general manager, your scouting department to help build that. But in their minds, they're thinking how many times, if you look at the Florida Marlins and the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Oakland A's, if you look at all the players that they have drafted and traded away or literally given away, when you look at the Marlins, for instance, they had Giancarlo Stanton when he was actually good, and seven other players. If you look at all three of those teams, they should be competing for World Series every single year. But they claim small market and things are too expensive and stuff like that. And now I think the owner in Pittsburgh is starting to get better. He made a couple of off-season moves that were pretty good. Even here in Baltimore, there's a youth movement going on. Baltimore won 101 games. They traded to get a big pitcher from Milwaukee. But this kind of shows the mindset of the owner in Oakland. So for the next 3 or 4 years, while the stadium is going to be built in Las Vegas, the owner had the option to lease the Oakland Coliseum during that time while the stadium was to be built. But rather than pay $35 million over 3 years, he said, no, that's too much money. We're going to go up to Sacramento, not be called the Sacramento Athletics, just be called the A's or the Athletics. They're not even using Sacramento's name. And they're going to play up there. You hear how embarrassing that is? They're going to play up there for those 3 years. It's sad. I feel bad for the fans of Oakland.
They have nothing now.
They got nothing, and then
bridge to watch a basketball game,
right?
Because
but even if you go back 3 or 4 years when they were trying to get a deal done to keep them in Oakland and to build a new stadium, I believe part of the issue was whenever a franchise is trying to build a stadium, there's usually a percentage from the city, a percentage from the state government, and then a percentage from the owners at Major League Baseball to help, finance the stadium. Allegedly, everybody had the money. The mayor said all the financing is in place. You just have to say yes to this location. And before he allowed the conversation to end, he had already decided to go to Las Vegas. You know what I mean? And the mayor was like, you know what? forget you then. You kind of negotiated in bad faith. You challenged us and said you need this, and that, and we got it. But you had never had the intention to stay in Oakland. You know what I mean? And that's why they're getting crapped on. He's getting crapped on now. So, but there's rumors that it may be like a Cleveland Brown situation. So remember when Cleveland moved and came to Baltimore, the name stayed in Cleveland, and then the Baltimore team became the Ravens. So they're thinking that that might be kind of a happy medium, that they promise that they'll have a team in Oakland as the Oakland A's, while Las Vegas goes and drops dead in Las Vegas.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind being in Vegas. Actually, I was looking to move to Vegas. Um, I think it would be interesting to be somewhere like Vegas. I mean, you got to have a dome stadium, though, man.
Well, yeah, and that's yeah, but I mean, even with that, it's like they're having a hard time coming out with designs because of the location. I think they're supposed to uh, implode the Tropicana, and that's where their stadium is going to be. But they literally only have room for like the field and maybe like half of a state. So it's like there's so much that has to go into that. But it looks like they're close. Huh?
Got a lot of desert out there.
A lot of desert out there. But it's like even I hear what you're saying about moving to Vegas, but the majority of the people like that live there don't live in Vegas. Those are the tourists. Most of them are like out in the outskirts, like Henderson and
Yeah,
I
and that's
forget the
what
others.
I'm not talking about moving to Vegas, man. I'm talking Henderson, Summerlin,
Right.
some places out there. Um, you ain't gonna catch me on the strip. I'm out there to play a poker tournament. So that's interesting. I mean, I thought like by next year we were going to have a team in Las Vegas, but obviously that's not going to be the case. And and not only that, the owner decided to play their games in a minor league stadium that only
Right.
holds about 10,000 people.
Well, they say they can extend it to 14, because there's like an outfield, like grass area, like a grassy knoll area that they'll be able to put
They
temporary seats up.
out there, or are they going to be sitting out there on the grass like the Little League World Series?
All they said was 4,000 people can fit there, whether they're seated or on the ground. We shall see.
It's going to be the adult version of the Little League World. They're going to be out there in their cardboard sliding down the hill
There you go, breaking their femurs and aortas.
with beers in their hand. They're going
There
to
you
can.
go. That's the challenge.
We'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see. So there's one more thing we did want to talk about today. And this weekend, um, it was a big weekend in Philadelphia for wrestling fans. It was a huge deal. I mean, it was all over the news, the reports on it and all like that. It was huge deal, huge deal. Of course, I'm talking about Wrestlemania was in Philadelphia this year for the first time since they started doing football stadiums for Wrestlemania. First time in Philadelphia. And from what I read, the show was, I guess, amazing. As you can see right there, I know that's Rey Mysterio. Oh, I didn't. This is the first time I actually noticed he had on Eagles pants.
Yeah, he came out with a green and silver vest. It was actually pretty cool looking.
And he's got midnight green and Kelly green in those pants. So he might Rey Mysterio must that's Rey Mysterio, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't sound stupid for a couple minutes. He must know a little something. Or he talked to the right people. Yeah, that's how you win the crowd over in Philly right there. Come on out with some Eagles gear on. That's how you win it. That's how you win the crowd. But right there behind Rey Mysterio is the guy with the mask on, flexing on him. Right, the pale gentleman right behind him is your future Hall of Fame, just retired Eagles center, fan favorite Jason Kelsey, who looks like he belongs in the wrestling ring. the other gentleman behind him, bald head gentleman, is another Eagles lineman, current lineman Lane Johnson, who also looks like he should probably be in a wrestling ring somewhere. And the other cats over there, I don't know who the rest of those guys are, but I'm sure there's somebody famous because they're in the wrestling ring right there. Did you catch any of WrestleMania, Coach?
No.
I caught the main event of day 2. Caught the main event yesterday. Actually, that's a lie. I caught 2 matches. I caught one match the first day, and I caught the main event on the second day.
Okay, so wait a minute. Now I'm confused. So WrestleMania was 2 days?
WrestleMania is 2 days, and it's been 2 days for a while now.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, WrestleMania's been 2 days for a while now. They do a Saturday, make it a whole thing, man. It's huge.
I mean, I heard about the fan fest at the convention center. We were with the hotel we were staying at, which was in Glen Mills. We saw this guy. We saw a family come in, and it looked like the mother was just doing her civic duty. She's like, "I need aspirin. I need alcohol," just because I guess there was a lot of screaming in the car, and there was these 3 grown men in face paint, and each one of them had like a title belt. One with the stupid rim that would automatically go the rim belt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your beards are grayer than mine. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
and I feel you on that. Believe me, I feel you on that. But here's the thing. And I try to get people to look at it a different way because I kind of look at it the same way I probably would have said the same thing you did, but I try to get people to look at it a different way. Do you say the same thing to 2 guys? Or do you think the same thing to 2 guys that you see in a Denny's after an Eagles game and they got their face painted green?
Yes. No.
I mean, I was gonna go with it. Do you do? I mean, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like I do, but I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do. Like I look at you like, come on, man. But it's acceptable.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it is. So I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. Like these wrestling fans, they are like fans for real. Like the ones that go to these shows and travel to go to these shows. Like I know some people that travel. I know people that actually travel to go to every WrestleMania. And I wanted to go to this one just because it was in Philly and it's like a bucket list type thing to go to a WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw how many people was there, I was like, you know, I'm glad I didn't go. Glad I didn't go because I don't do crowds anymore in the crowd like that, and I'm good. I am good. But I saw 2 matches. I saw the Uso brothers go up against each other. One of them won. And then I saw the main event, which was Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. And I think Roman Reigns had been champion for like a couple years or something, undefeated.
1,300 days, I think.
That's more than a couple years. I'm not going to put it out there, but I'm sure all of you already know who won that are wrestling fans. So, you know, spoiler alert, Cody won. I'm supposed to pause, ain't I? Sorry.
Right.
Spoiler alert, Cody won. Okay. So here comes some more spoilers because I'm about to tell Miguel what happened. Something cool that happened. So, Miguel, I don't really follow wrestling at all, but I did know about a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So Roman Reigns is family is relative to the Uso brothers and Rock, and you know that whole family.
Mm-hmm. That I didn't know. Yeah.
So I guess during this championship reign, they formed like a regime. Right, but the Uso brothers had a falling out or whatever. I don't know what happened there, but I think like it was called like the bloodline, but it was like that whole family. And The Rock, who is, a retired wrestler, was I think, and wrestling fans don't kill me because I'm not taking calls right now. Actually, I will, you know. I think The Rock was considered like the top guy of, what I'm saying? It was almost like he's the old head, he's the OG.
Right.
The Roman Reigns, he was like the head of the table right now. And then the Usos were they were the foot soldiers or whatever. Kind of like that. Just think of it in that structure.
Right.
So at some point yesterday, what happened? Okay, at some point yesterday during the match, it has been going on for I don't know how long because I caught it like halfway through. The bad Uso brother came out to help Roman Reigns. The good Uso brother came out to help Cody Rhodes, right? Then John Cena comes out to help Cody Rhodes, right? He does something. No, excuse me. Let me go back. The Shield music. I don't know how much you may know, but it was during my time with Fox Sports Radio, we did a lot of wrestling talk. The Shield, which was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and I forgot the other boy name, but he's in AEW wrestling now. The Shield music comes on. Seth Rollins comes out of nowhere with a chair with the whole Shield outfit on, but he was like wiped out immediately, right? So then John Cena comes out. He comes out, does something to Roman Reigns, whatever. Then The Rock comes out. He comes out. Is the Rock bottom?
Rock bottom
on John Cena, right? So whatever, he's like, how Rock does, stands there looking, whatever. Then what happens, Miguel? Can you guess what happens then?
The Undertaker comes out.
The Undertaker. You'll hear the dong, and then the lights go out, and then you hear the dong again. So the Rock looking up the aisle, like, all right, come on. Lights come back on. Rock's looking up the aisle. Of course, the Undertaker standing behind him in the ring already. So Undertaker choke slams him. Boom, choke slams him. That was the end of the cool part. That was pretty cool to see, to be honest with you. That was pretty much the end of it. Cody Rhodes won, and then happily ever after, I guess. And actually, I was going to turn on Monday Night Raw today, but I didn't because I forgot. Started at the same time as the show. I was turning on early, and then I had to turn on the Phillies game, and the rest is history. Have it. Your thoughts on that, Miguel, if any?
I want to like wrestling. I think what I think I need to see more competition. But I'm glad it was successful. I'm glad that there's still some hype around it. Brings back my childhood because I started watching wrestling like 84, 85. I think I was around like 5 or 6 at the time. And of course, back then,
I was an 80s, early 90s wrestling fan.
Yeah, because I started watching like once Hulk Hogan became champion the very, very first time, and seeing all the heels. I cried when King Kong Bundy broke his ribs in Tempe, Arizona. I cried when Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff was a tag team partner of Hulk Hogan and he betrayed him. You know what I mean? I cried when Andre the Giant became,
Crying those thug tears.
Yeah, like why would he do that, man? That ain't right. But the big one was Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, and that was the first time like you got the measurements. Andre stands 7'4", and he wears a Z cup and all this other stuff. It was like there was always this compare and contrast. I was like, man, this is deep. And then you hear the story about like how they're talking about the match, how Hulk Hogan was like, how's the finish going to be? Like, it's weird hearing all the stuff that was like, we thought was real laid out into a storyline. I'm like, oh my goodness, and hearing all those now, like hearing like from Ricky the Dragon Steamboat that which I think Steamboat and Macho Man had the greatest match in WrestleMania 3, better than the Hogan Andre match, and how they used the number system.
You consider that the greatest WrestleMania match?
Yep. Um, and how they used the numbering system for the moves to remember the moves. And I think Steamboat said there was like 348 moves. So they knew that when they got to like the 300th move, all right, now we're getting close to, going home, or that's the term for finishing the match. And if you watch that match, it's like a series of like it's like there's almost pinfalls, like the last like 2 minutes of match, just like, crazy. Um, and it's like kind of heartbreaking, but also like kind of like, wow, that it say what you want about wrestling, it's scripted, it's fake, but the injuries that tend to happen are real. um and then to find out that I think a month after Ricky Steamboat won that title against Macho Man, he asked for a vacation, or he asked for a break, and he gets fired, and doesn't come back to the WWE for like another 6 or 7 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't have the title for long. He was supposed to like be like, you know, the carrier of the title, but he said a month before WrestleMania he had a newborn child. He had been on the road 300 and some odd days for the year, and he's like he just needed a break. And yeah,
Was that the Intercontinental title?
yeah,
Is that when they had that tournament?
Yes, because I think it was they kind of segued into like an injury, and then I think Honky Tonk Man wound up winning it, but he was really a transitional champion for the Ultimate Warrior a couple of years later.
Right.
Yeah, so it was, it was interesting hearing that story. I was like, wow, he wasn't a champion for, I don't remember how long. I'm thinking in my mind he must have been the kind of Intercontinental champion for like 3 years. Literally, it was like 4 months because he asked for a vacation, and then he went to WCW or NWA at that time and had some of the greatest like 1.5 hour matches with Ric Flair. As well. He was a great wrestler. I was just like, it was just amazing that he wasn't a champion longer in the WWF at the time.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, but when you think about it, maybe it's different at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When do champions really get vacations?
Which is true, but like, for instance, you get like when Hulk Hogan, when he had that first injury with King Kong Bundy, he didn't wrestle for 3 weeks.
Right. But you're talking about an injury, and Hulk Hogan also. Well, okay, so it depends on like when you what area you're talking about. Like Hulk Hogan became a part-time guy.
Right. I mean, and even in his like they had, what do they call them, like dark matches, like matches that aren't on TV, or if you ever watch like some of the matches, like his matches were really short, like nothing past like 3 or 4 minutes when he's wrestling like Johnny Roz or the Bruiser. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I'm glad that I used to always wish, like when I was a kid, that they wouldn't fight jobbers.
Yeah, and they stopped that too. They actually stopped. Like, you didn't see, like, how.
But what they did was they stopped it, but then they made regular guys jobbers.
Right.
Which, in a turn, it's not worse, but it's like it's not for the viewer like me who doesn't. I'm not a storyline guy. I just like action. It's kind of not fun.
I got you.
Like, I want to see how this guy can really fare. You know what I mean? Even though it's fake, I want to see how this guy can fare against this person. Right. It's not, but when you already know that they're going to lose because it's part of the storyline,
yeah. But I mean, like, even looking at this picture right here, you see how many fans are back there now. The link can hold, I believe, on paper 68,000 fans, but now you're adding floor seats to small ring area, so you figure you're probably looking at like what, 85, maybe 90,000.
Excuse me. Snoop Dogg actually gave the number. Because I think Snoop Dogg was there or something. I saw something. The 2-night total. I forgot what it was, but the 2-night total was some crazy number. But either way, I mean, there were so many people there. It was packed, as you can see. Like you said, look at all them people back there, up to the top, very top. People are there to see it. Personally, I don't know if I'd want to sit way up there and watch WrestleMania. Like it's not like it's the football field. It's a from up there. It's a little wrestling ring.
Right.
But
70
to be there is probably worth it.
Right. So Sunday's attendance was 72,000. And then the night before was slightly lower. So the grand total for the two shows was 145,000.
Must be because that's what the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Philly, man. Phillies are winning 2-0, by the way, just so everybody knows. This is live TV, y'all.
Yeah,
trying to turn on I'm trying to turn on wrestling to see what's. Oh no, that's the basketball game. Actually, I said we're going to be off for the basketball game, so it's time to go.
Yeah, time to go.
They just tipped off, so
there you go.
Well, all right, y'all. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the CheckSwing Podcast with myself, and of course, like I said, the brains and the brawn up with his dirt bags paraphernalia on. Definitely check him out. Coming to a baseball stadium near you. All right. But like I said, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the CheckSwing Podcast. We will talk to y'all next time. And check out some of our old shows on YouTube. Go to the youtube.com/NewTwistRadio and click on the live tab. And you can say all of our old shows that were aired live here on New Twist Radio, as well as some of the shows that are on, or some of the other shows that are on the network, such as 10-7, Intelligent Ignorance, and Let's Not Argue. Amongst others, you can check out some of the old, what was it called? Friday Vibes Morning Show. Check out some of that too. But anyway, we're going to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all. Sorry for taking up so much of y'all time. We're going to duck out of here. We love y'all for loving us, and we'll check y'all next time here on the CheckSwing Podcast. Peace out.